Welcome to episode 26 of Rivals, and the first of 4 episodes that we're going to be seeing in a succession of Gran Turismo 6. These are actually going to be the last 4 episodes of Gran Turismo for a while. After this, we're going to have some games to, kind of switch things up, which I'm actually kind of looking forward to. Not that I get tired of Gran Turismo most of the time, it's just, sometimes you need something just a little bit more fresh. But anyways, today, our request comes from Ben8473, and he mentions to take two cars that would rival each other in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1967. Now, I'd have to sort this real quick. No. I'm not sure why the other ones suddenly disappeared on me. Yeah, that would probably explain it. Anyways, doesn't matter. Anyways, so we're going to be using the 2 cars from the 1967 24-hour Le Mans that were direct competitors, as well as, 24 Hours of Daytona as well. In one corner, you got the car that took a 1-2-3 finish at the 24 Hours of Daytona in 67, the Ferrari 330 P4, Ferrari's offering. And from Ford, we have their car that took the win in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1967, the Ford Mark IV, also perhaps known as the GT40, of course. The most radical of them, in fact. And it's that we're going to be using first. Now, the track of choice that was chosen by Ben is Midfield Raceway. So, let's go quickly head over there and see how these 2 cars get on. Now, I haven't really done anything PS3 recording for a while, so it's kind of interesting to come back to doing something on here after so long. Now, one thing that I am going to quickly do, we're going to give ourselves a few settings. First of all, since we're doing time-lapse stuff, we're going to go for the Racing Soft tires because it helps with, of course, with the in terms of getting as much grip as possible. We're, of course, also going to maximize downforce to get the most out of the cornering ability of the car. Let's actually set the time for midday. How about that? So, 12 o'clock. Sorry, we've done that. Now, with driving options, just one other thing. Just got to turn off the traction control, and we're good to go. Now, I thought I'd take the Mark IV first because, it had the more significant, and in some eyes, more important victory, the win at Le Mans. So, it makes sense to kind of look at this one first. Oh, I got to get used to the fact that the shifting is... I kind of have them a little bit backwards, so it's going to take a little bit for me to try to get the hang of it again, but, shouldn't particularly be too much effort. Anyways, and also coming back to this game, you really tell that this game really needed some anti-aliasing, but then again, I wonder if that was even going to be possible for this game, or if it was just too much of a slowdown for it. In fact, I'm running this at 720p, not just so you can see it at 60 frames, because the old Elgato can only do 1080p at 30 frames, but it's also apparently, from what I've heard, this game just tends to run better on 720p. It has some frame issues at 1080, so, the PS3 was... And yet this game was still kind of pushing the PS3 to its limit, so yeah, probably anti-aliasing would have likely not been possible, but man, did this game look like it needed it. Because it definitely is some cases where it seems very beneficial. Anyways, but yeah, it's a very weirdly shaded game too. It looks so overly bright in certain areas. I'm not sure what they were doing. GT5 wasn't quite like that. It had some areas, but I think the thing is, this game it kind of has like some aura. It has like auras or beams of light in areas, so I think that kind of really shows it. I don't even remember how you're supposed to turn off the ghost, but that's fine. So yeah, I kind of had an issue there. I cut too close to the rumble strip and completely destabilized the car. So that was, going to happen. Oh god. It was a little bit of a mess, but Anyway, let's actually keep this at 3rd here. Hopefully. Oh god, I've done it again. And now I've completely spun the car out. Lovely. Yeah, this game really doesn't like you going on the rumble strips much. If you're cutting it too close, it just completely destabilizes a lot of the cars you drive and makes them spin. You can get up to them, but you go too far in, and then you're kind of screwed. So you just have to play it really carefully. Something that I'm apparently not the best at doing, which is a shame because you would think, right? But no. So I need to get a clean lap in this car. I'm not settling for the laps that I've been getting with this thing. Anyways, hopefully this one will be the lap that I'm looking for. So yeah, I may have braked a little late, but that's fine. Well, I didn't get all the way to the edge, so I had some breathing room. Okay, just keep it. Oh boy. Oh, see, there we go again. It's destabilizing, just sliding out. It's not exactly something I was hoping for, but, Alright, we can go down the second here. It's not a big deal. Okay, get it closer. Oh, Jesus. And see, it was happening again. It's too easy with this car. It's perfectly fine going through all the corners and stuff here, but get it onto the rumble strips. Fuck, and I shifted down by accident. And then you get all sorts of hair, twitchy with it, so you gotta be very cautious of where you put the car down on. Otherwise, you're going to either likely completely lose the back end or completely spin out. Both of which have already happened to me, so, God, my throat is feeling a bit funny today, which is, a pretty bad sign. I mean, I've got a nice lengthy break from work because of the town I live in reasons, but it's like, of course, as soon as I have that break, something has to start acting up, so it's going to be more miserable than exciting, which is, I can already see it happening. Probably going to have my voice slowly be disappearing soon, too. Because, of course, someone had to be working when they probably shouldn't have been. That's my guess. So, that's going to be fun, not really. Ugh. It's not too terrible right now, though, so hopefully it's just a minor thing. But knowing my luck, it probably won't be a minor thing. And yeah, that was getting a little bit crazy there, but I managed to keep it from getting any worse. Anyways, we're coming up to the straight, and this will be the lap I accept, because this was a pretty good lap. So we're gonna have the benchmark set at a 1 minute 4.707. So that is going to be the time that the Ferrari is going to have to beat. So yeah, so thoughts on the Mark IV? Well, if you can keep it off the too far into the rumble strips and know how to put the power down, it's a fine car to drive. But if you do put it on the rumble strips too much, then you're gonna not have the best of times. So, anyways, so let's go over now and get to our Ferrari, which, because the way the game is organized, let's put it at the bottom. In fact, there's the Ford I was just in. Alright. Actually, can I set that so it's the other way around? That might be a little easier for future reference. Yes. Don't know why it's considered reverse order, because the way it should be is reverse order should be it should be like this. There we go. Doesn't matter. For the Ferrari, let's go over back to, nope, that's not world circuits we need original circuits to Midfield Raceway. Now, I know some people will probably ask, will you do some for Gran Turismo 5? The answer is probably not, because Gran Turismo 6, with the exception of 1 or 2 odd vehicles, pretty much has nearly everything in it. And it has more tracks to play with like the exception of like the Top Gear track, which, to be fair, even in Gran Turismo 5, wasn't entirely the best representation of it. It wasn't bad, like, completely, but it certainly wasn't, what it should have been. And especially to the fact that in GT's 5, it does. You try to watch a replay in that game on that track, the camera angles are all different, which is silly because it shouldn't be such a big deal. But it's like when you're used to seeing that track on TV so much, you're used to the certain camera angles because it's the ones that they've continuously used. But in Gran Turismo 5, they're all completely different. So when you see it, it just looks strange, like it looks foreign. And then in Gran Turismo 6, since they didn't really even have the Top Gear license, although I think technically the track is still in the files for the game, because they didn't have the license, they couldn't really use it. And plus, to be fair, Forza did make better use of it anyways. 4, 5, and 6, not only are the tracks more accurate to their real-life interpretation, it does actually go its way to use all the similar kind of camera angles. So it matches up much nicer. Now, that my question though is it going to be in Forza 7? Because Forza 6 had it, but that was just around the time when the whole situation happened, and now of course Top Gear has a completely new change of direction in many cases, and you know that track is not that track is going to be gone soon anyways because of city proposed plans to build some houses in that area. So you know. Doesn't really matter though because this isn't that track. This is Midfield Raceway. It's probably one of my favorite original creations. It's a nice, just high-speed track with some tricky corners, but mostly apart from that, it's very, very straightforward. It's very simple to get into, and it's kind of crazy to think this wasn't originally in the game already. It wasn't in GT5 at all, but then this came out and it was, you know, it was DLC. And right away on the first lap, we've already set a faster time, 104.5. And to be honest, that just comes down, I think, to the fact that the Ferrari just is quicker. It's a quicker vehicle. It has more power on the top end for sure, and its handling is kind of about on par in some areas as the Mark IV. But the Ferrari just moves more, so it definitely has a lot more get up and go power, which is where the Ferrari here kind of gets its thing. And oh dear. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do at all. It's fine though. We'll just get ourselves back on there. Okay, just fine. I do want to actually get a better lap time to see what I can, potentially do, but that won't be happening if I do things like that. So I gotta keep that in mind. All right, we're fine there. No worries. Nothing major to be concerned about. Okay. It's thankfully, like I said, the feeling is a bit minor. It's not serious. It's not a serious kind of issue, but I have a feeling that something might be building up, and it's not exactly something I want. And at least to be fair, it's happening at the start rather than by the time I would be heading back into work. So it's at least by the time if it turns out to be a prolonged hold, it will. By the time I go back in, it will mostly have died down again, so likely. But I'm not going to worry too much about it because right now I'm not feeling any other symptoms. I don't feel lightheadedness or a headache. I don't feel like I have the sweats or anything. I don't feel like I don't have a stuffed nose. I can breathe just fine. All that sort of stuff. So really it'll just come down to how if it is anything I really caught, how severe is it? Because so far, considering I've been up for couple hours now, it's at least so far looking to be kind of sort of minor. So there we go. We're now into 103 territory. All right, there you go. You can probably just get a little bit around with the angle there. I'm just going to do one more lap. I'm just curious. But yeah, I would definitely say out of the two, I would definitely just choose the Ferrari. Not only is it faster, it is kind of a nicer vehicle to drive. I've been kind of going on the rumble strips, and unlike the Mark IV where it's getting its slide out and wants to try to cause some havoc, with the Ferrari it's restrained. It doesn't have that same kind of issue. It keeps all of its grip. So in that case, it'd be more forgiving to newcomers trying to drive a car like this. You'd have a much better time with it. So definitely, if you are more concerned about having a more smooth ride, then the Ferrari is probably the one you're gonna want to choose. It's also the one I would just choose over looks, because to be honest, I much prefer the looks of the 330 over specifically the Mark IV GT40. I still think the Mark I and in some cases even the Mark II is prettier, but the Mark IV wasn't the same. The Ferrari, though, the 330 it's like the Mark I in that its look is very timeless. It's a gorgeous machine. Very nice. And again, it's my choice for this game in terms of which car I like more. And it's also the car that's faster too, so it's a 2-for-1 deal. Hooray. Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next one, where things will likely be switching up a bit. In fact, let me double check that. Well, yes and no, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Anyways, stay tuned for that, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you all on the next one.